Right, well, that's pretty much all the rubbish tidied away after last month's celebrations. So let's get on with a proper layout update, shall we? Hi everyone and welcome back to Fairview. So if you've been watching over the last couple of months, you'll know that my last few videos have been focused on something of a reboot of my model railroad. A bit of a refresh of the location, now a freelanced location, and of the operational concept behind my railway operations. And then of course there was the excitement of the 1,000 subscriber special. Thanks, by the way, for all the kind comments and feedback on that. So now finally, with a bit of time off over the Easter break, it's been good to get back to producing some content for a proper layout update. You know how sometimes you do things quickly on your model railway? You might have a temporary track fix here, maybe a cardboard mock-up of an industry there, and if you're not careful, those things have a habit of hanging around for an awfully long time. Well, today's layout update focuses on 3 issues like this, all in part prompted by the new concept and or the 1,000 subs video, which kind of forced me to get round to fixing them. Well, of course, I'm reaching the stage where the main layout here in the railway room is largely complete, or at least complete in terms of what I optimistically called phase 1. This means that all the track is down, everything's running fairly well, all the buildings are largely completed, and most of the landscaping is down and to an acceptable level. Of course, there's still plenty to do, but one thing that really stood out when I was doing my 1,000 subscriber special was that the fascia down here is pretty shabby. Not only was it incomplete, and I'd only partly painted some of it in the dark grey that I'd chosen, but there were various scribbled notices on the left along the main sort of drag of the town itself, which were still indicating directions of travel towards Denver or heading westwards up to Moffat Tunnel. So, armed with my new concept and my new plan for the layout, I decided it was time to spruce things up a bit and get the fascia fully fitted, sanded and painted, and then add some brand new signage. Obviously this took several days. Each stage, to a greater or lesser extent, sort of requires things to dry off. The sanding took quite a while and created a heck of a mess, but in the end, after a couple of coats, I think everything's looking pretty good. And in fact, a bonus is that the grey I selected purely by chance seems to quite closely match the UP Harbour Mist corporate grey that you see on their locos. So all in all, that was one job finished and looking pretty good all round. When I put the signage on as well, still a few aspects of the concept side of things need sorting out, but this is all temporary for now anyway. But because I had a spare, I even went ahead and fitted one of the welcome signs to the fascia of Aspen Grove Industrial Park. But that's enough of signs and painting frippery. What about some actual model making? Well, I've even managed to do some of that in the last week or two. Unfortunately, I didn't actually film any of it, for which apologies, but I kind of figured that my time was actually better spent doing the job. But you might remember that Ferguson Fabrication here at Aspen Grove was just a foam board mock-up, and now it's been transformed into a fully fledged, albeit half relief, warehouse, and it's been rechristened to boot. So now it's Ferguson Refrigeration, which is going to be receiving boxcars of foodstuffs as well as packaging materials, and will be shipping out chilled and packaged meat in reefer cars. Obviously the scene's not completed yet. There's all kinds of detailing to finish on the building itself, give it a light weathering, and then obviously bed things into some finished landscaping. But I hope you agree it's looking a lot better than before. Space for 3 cars to be spotted here, and continues progress up on this portion of the layout, the shelf layout up in my study. And then we come to the third and final part of the upgrade package. Just this week I received a parcel in the post, and take the lid off. You can see that I have ordered a Helix kit. I haven't had time to build it yet, but that is something which I hope to complete in the coming weeks to go here. Yes, the plan is for it to squeeze into this gap underneath the main deck and replace this rather long and space-hungry slope down to my storage sidings. At the moment, an eye-watering 8% gradient. Even the kit, for all its space-saving qualities, it will only reduce the gradient to 5%, but I hope it'll allow me to relocate the sidings to a place where they're a bit more accessible for me when I'm running trains, and at least that slight easing of the gradient will make it a bit easier for me to get the trains up from that lower portion onto the main deck. So that's all to feature in a future video. For now, we'll just finish by watching the through manifest service heading out of town. And it just remains for me to thank you as always for stopping by. Enjoy your model railroading, take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.